Okay, my friends, for all of you that know me, you know I am deep into the poop. Its study finds alarming levels of microplastics in the feces of people with irritable bowel disease. What is irritable bowel disease? Crohn's syndrome, where you can't digest stuff. You get cramps, you get diarrhea, you got all kind of problems pooping. I like to find out about how people poop. Then I know if they're healthy or not. And all it is your gut bacteria. And the reason you can't clear these microplastics, you don't have the gut bacteria to do the job. All right, they collected feces from 52 people that had inflammatory bowel disease, and they had a lot more plastic in their feces than people that didn't have it. Now, so they come up with the notion that the well, and then they go on to say that the more severe the individual's IBD symptoms was, the greater the plastic. So more plastic in your feces meant that you had a more serious bowel infection. Now, so they're relating it to the plastic. So they're saying a survey revealed nothing unusual about the origins of the plastics. The same for you is the same for me. Why do I have excess plastic and you don't? It's suggesting it was the kinds of particles we all might ingest by drinking from PET bottles or eating out of single-use disposable containers, those foam-looking containers. As an observational study, the research doesn't establish cause and effect. Nobody can claim the difference in the plastic load is solely or even partially responsible, because it is not. It is I'll go on. For the symptoms of diarrhea, rectal bleeding, and abdominal cramping associated with the illness. They're saying, well, maybe it's the plastic that's causing all of these problems with this illness. No, it's the illness causing the problems. It can't break down the plastic. It says it's even possible having irritable bowel disease might make it harder to clear the buildup of plastic accumulating in our diets. Yes, because you don't have the bacteria to break it down. And 7 million people have irritable bowel disease, and that's only the ones diagnosed. A ton of people have it, and it just comes and goes. They don't. It's a condition distinguished by regular bouts of discomfort, changes in bowel motion produced by a hair trigger system overreacting to otherwise benign materials in the gut. I eat it and no problems. You eat it and you get sick. Why? Illness usually falls into one of two categories. Crohn's disease, typically characterized by inflamed lining throughout the deeper layers of the digestive tract. That's the membranes. Those are supposed to be loaded with these membrane-bound bacteria. They're dead. People have taken antibiotics and they destroyed their digestive systems. There's other things that do it too. And then you get ulcerative colitis. It breaks right through the walls and it attacks you. It's marked by ulcers and large intestine linings. And the same thing happens everywhere in your body. You have mucosa and you have bacteria living in all of the membranes that coat everything in your throat, in your lungs, in all over your heart, your kidneys, your liver, and it's all different chemistry, all different bacteria living there, and we got a lot of it that's dead. And that's why we have all these pre-existing conditions. They're missing their bacteria where it's supposed to protect them in these membrane-bound bacteria regions. Okay, my friends, this is really, really important. Pay close attention to this. They're always talking about antioxidants. Well, there's enzymes that are the antioxidants in your body. They just don't understand where enzymes come from. They say superoxide dismutase, SOD. There are classes of enzymes that catalyze the dismutation of superoxide into oxygen and hydrogen peroxide. So they break it up to make it into an antioxidant. It's an important antioxidant defense in nearly all cells exposed to oxygen. Every cell in your body is exposed to oxygen, 100%. So what does that mean? That means you need to have something to create these enzymes. Your body does not create enzymes. Your body has nothing to do with enzymes. The enzymes are created by bacteria. Bacteria are little tiny single cell, or I don't know if they're single cell. I guess they are normally single cell, but they're little tiny bugs that live inside of you. everywhere in your body, and all of your membranes are saturated with them, and they create these enzymes. Now let's just look into what a bacteria is quickly. All right, we talked about the fact that these bacteria make enzymes. There's like 80,000 different bacteria in your body, and they make enzymes. There's 10 times more bacterial cells in you than there is your cells in you. 10 times more of you is bacteria than you is you. Now, this is what they look like. They're all little tiny bugs. And there's different classes of them. I think there's five groups. And it's according to their shape. And did you know that this little flagella that's sticking out the back can rotate 100,000 revolutions a second? And it can turn backwards from spinning that way in less than 1 second to spinning backwards. So go forward and back just like that. Anyway, these things are just unbelievably magnificent, and they do an unbelievable job. Sometimes they link together, but primarily they're single-celled organisms and clusters of them. Now, bacteria are found in every habitat on Earth because they break down everything. They use the enzymes to break down and erode things into food for plants and so forth. They're in the soil, they're in the rocks, they're in the oceans, they're even in the Arctic snow. Some live on other organisms, including plants and animals, and including us. We have tons of them in us, thousands and thousands. There are approximately 10 times as many bacterial cells as human cells in the human body. A lot of these bacterial cells are found lining the digestive system. That is where primarily most of the interaction with the outside world happens. You have some in your throat and in your nose and all that up in the neck area and all that. Absolutely. And your tonsils and everything, they're all different chemistry. It's all different chemistry, different pHs levels and different bacteria living in these different little niches. And that's why there's so many different types, because they have to deal with different products coming into you, and if you don't have those bacteria, you're going to be in trouble. Some bacteria live in the soil or on dead plant matter where they play an important role in the cycling of nutrients. Absolutely, they break all the little bits down because they eat them and then they poop them out and then somebody else eats them. Some types cause food spoilers and crop damage, but others are incredibly useful in the production of fermented foods such as yogurt, soy sauce. Relatively few bacteria are parasites or pathogens that cause disease in animals or plants. Very few of them. They're beneficial 99% of the time. And the ones that are not beneficial, you should have a beneficial one that says you're not allowed in here. You go do something else. You're supposed to go out and break down corn or something. Don't get around here. And they throw it out. Now, if you don't have the guy that says that, and he says, hey, there's a place for me to live in this guy's cheek or in his wherever, it'll invade. There's nobody to stop it. There's no mucus, there's no serosa, there's no enzymes, there's no catalyst, there's no barrier. That's what invasion is, and that's what disease is. Now, just so you should be able to visualize this, inside every one of these bags, there's probably 1 million different little bacteria living in there. I'm not kidding you. It's just unbelievable how many there are in your body. There's trillions. And they are living in these sacs of water, fluid. All right? And you know, it's salty, it's whatever it is. It depends on whatever this coating here is coating. If it's in the digestive system, there might be a lot of acids. There are other areas where there's some saltiness. Then there's other areas in your body where the pH is, it's all kind of different chemistry, bile and so forth. And this will have a different bacterial community living here because it has to deal with an acid or a salt or bile, or it has to go and send guys out to break down food. Some other places you don't have, in certain places in your digestive system, your throat and so forth, you don't need to send guys out to break down food. Some of that does happen, I'm sure, but primarily it's after the stomach, and the acids all, break it up, start to break it up, and then it goes into your digestive system, and it just gets eaten up by the bacteria. This bacteria is squirted out all over. He said, "Ooh, the guy got some carrots. Send out the lactobacillus keratosis." It goes out and eats up the carrots, and then whatever it breaks down in that catalyst enzyme interaction of chemistry, you can absorb now because it's in the molecular range now. It's so small that your body can absorb it. And then they just go back to doing whatever they're doing, having a party back here. The carrot guys are hanging out with the pea guys and the corn guys, and everybody's having a good time. And as soon as you eat one of these, they send one of those guys out to break it down. And they're so specific that it's literally almost exactly that way. And it happens almost instantaneously. Your body can react to things. I mean, you know how you sneeze, you get something gets into your, all of a sudden, this is spontaneous. You cry, your tears come out instantaneously. Your body can make chemistry happen, but it's not your body. It's the bacteria living in here. Your body has no purpose whatsoever other than to hold the bacteria. The bacteria control everything in your whole life. They control your mood. They control your happiness. I'm serious. Look it up. Look up bacteria and its response on the immune system. It's just unbelievable, probacteria. And the National Institute of Health, they all know it now. It's just sort of incorporated into the system. It takes just forever. Glacial pace, all this stuff moves at. And I've been showing this stuff over and over and over and over and over, but I just have a very limited audience, so. And we're hoping to get a bigger platform. That's the only way to get this out. And you have to share it. You have to start sharing stuff a lot more. All right? I love you all, but you got to share it. And like I said, you can react instantaneously to the stuff coming into you. And just as other way, you can react instantaneously to being attacked. All right? So you have to have your ability ready here to respond. Otherwise, you're in trouble. All right, so you got to have that correct bacteria living there, probacteria. We should know really, and it's a shame we don't know what bacteria lives in what places in the body, because your throat is going to be different than your nose and your ears and your eyeballs, and they all have different bacteria. Absolutely no question whatsoever. And they live in these fluid-filled bags, which these fluid-filled bags coat everything in your body. These are membranes. They coat every muscle fiber. They coat every tendon, or your eyeballs, your earlobes. Your skin is the same thing. Everything here. This is your immune system right here. What lives in these bags. That is your immune system. They're gatekeepers. They say, you guys, bad guys, stay out. You good guys, come back in here. We got a problem out there. Send out these killers. Or before you send the killers, just send out the slime. They send out the mucus. And then if the guys slide down there, it's okay. But if you got a guy with some claws or big fangs or something, that starts biting you, then they send out the really ugly guys, the catalysts, the enzymes. That's it for you, pal. You ever see on those horror movies where they come out and it just all of a sudden goes, falls down to bits? That's exactly what would happen. I mean, exactly, identical.